you. That's nice. This first poem is so old. Thank you. This first poem is so old, but it's about and it's for my abuelita, who's the strongest woman I know. So here goes. Abuelita's pearls. They were yours, connected around your neck. You wore them to match your 1950s length dress. It was beautiful, and you were a size 3 then, beside the Sepia Church in Tijuana. Las chicas con pelo rizado tuvieron rosas. He looked at you and not the camera. They were yours in Yerecuero Sundays, after Mass the town square, cracking eggshells in the neat parts of mischief, boys bright, confetti oaks spilling onto their shoulders, rainbow trails left behind, squealing pastel blurs all around town. They were yours the first time you saw me, silent creature, yellow-red wires, safety box, and special precautions. Así que muy pequeño. They were mine, draped inside a dusty velvet blue box, pure, fragile, cautious to touch. 15 years to the day after you decided you loved me. Thank you. I grew up I learned Spanish and English simultaneously, and then my family moved to the burbs, and I lost it, and then I got it again in college, but it was like this, it was a struggle, and this poem's called Tongue Memoir, and it's after Gloria Anzaldúa. To live in the borderlands is to know ghosts, means you start hearing voices in inner ears and outside voices and outside streets in mid-context. Después de eso, eres solo. When learning to conjugate in rote codes, not vena cava pumping birthright, sangre, blood codes, and those words, when I'm bringing them back to life in flashcards, I can hear them whisper. But I say, que you've been gone a long time, mija. Grown a little bit older, tus labios han hecho cambiados that your tongue muscle don't recognize. Maybe you've been twice conquered. But I say, que you've been hiding palabras under your tongue again, until they dissolve. To live in the borderlands means you're constantly having a stroke in one language or another. I reach to say, I see it between us, this tongue action entre teeth instead producing verbo. To live in the borderlands means sometimes they see it in you and invite you in, ¿qué quieres comer? Sometimes they don't, and they don't believe you, and you are hungry. To live in the borderlands means you remember what it was like to ask for love in another language, but now in a stale cavity of malformado R's, you only know how to want. This tongue that thrashes for misshapen words to sound like rosas is my borderland. I have been pouncing and painting and acrobat flipping in machinic English. But this idioma, this lengua, gurgles half-thoughts, still waits somewhere in an acidic stomach pit. But each time it gets called up to read, this tongue slashing of texture, this brain betrayal damn body malfunction does not compute. Quiero un entendimiento does not compute. This short one is, if I can find it. It's also from my grandparents. Woo. Pretty good. Her request, Deep Sheet Dimple, and it starts with this, which is not mine, it belongs to W.S. Merwin. Your absence has gone through me like thread through a needle. Everything I do is stitched in its color. W.S. Mormon, Separation. We return from the hospital, only the sweep of passing cars, while our tongues freeze to the language barrier ridges of our palates. We can't talk about it. A blush crystal rosary swings in the back of the car. From cheekbones to forehead, we are traffic-lit mirrors. In their room, she sits on pilling blue flannel. Beside her, a deep sheet dimple of 50 years. He left it cold tonight. Somewhere, sterile linen is warm. Esta noche, she shares her bed with the dust-coated plush animals from my childhood, the aftershave ghosts, and me. This one is called Mother, and it's about my mother, who is also a really strong woman. Mother. Small new things are loved in part because they come into this world smooth, unmarked. You were not born this way, but in the history of all worldly entrances, perhaps it was blessedly close. Your mother said you came into this world ugly. She wouldn't let anyone see you. Something was wrong. She said it was the doctor's fault. You weren't even supposed to live. You became beautiful, but you still felt some kind of ugly, some kind of not supposed to be. Perhaps the body remembers what water pressure on the brain cannot soak. Once I brought home a tiny kitten. I had to cut my knuckles to pull it out of the metal cylinders of the car wheel. I sat on an ice box under June stars with it in my arms against my hip as it shook. It had dirt-crusted fur and paper claws and an orphan baby bird heart pulp muscle. I swear I could see it under the skin. We fed it baby food on baby schedule, and it got strong enough to climb up our shins and scream at us to be held. You held her in a towel against your chest until she fell asleep. Her body didn't work right. Something was wrong, and we didn't know. We didn't know. One day her body betrayed her, and we didn't know why. You had done this before. I cried because my legs and elbows couldn't stop remembering. Oh, Mother, the accent in the creases of me hurts. You cried because the body repurposes what you have misplaced. The body surrenders to the history of being wretched. The body as mother. Oh, Mother, Mother, the body forever as mother. The body is history in spite of itself. I have two more. Newer stuff. This one is called Brick By, and it's a love letter to myself. Pep talk, if you will. But sometimes we need tough love, right? Yeah, here goes. Gray beret, voice of a bird, heart like a house. Pablo Neruda. I must admit this. After indigo midnight hours, pressing my tongue to warm stubble skin, attempting to extract steam secrets, I felt him, lingered, slept in it. I woke up, skulked out the door, spine like crushed ice, bad for the teeth, they say. It is morning. Your boots echo down hallway concrete alone. Your atria are unbreakable garnet. You promised. Will it, wish it, willful, wishful. Hip bone closeness means nothing these days. Push it back. Stay solid. Remember the brickwork. Think glaciers. Think seven worldly wonders. Think great structures that appeared overnight. Think shelter that took time. You are your only house. You are your only living room. Stand in it. Tell the wolf he can take his big breath somewhere else today. Please forget doorway spaces for now. There's no need to be regretful. You're just practicing. This is the work it takes. You don't have to like it. You don't have to be good at it. You just have to know why. Take another brick in your chapped hands. Hold nothing else. This last one, I wrote a poem about eggs, and eggs, right? Like, I don't, the muse is weird, like that. Basket. You will marry the first person who tells you your eyes look like scrambled eggs. Frank O'Hara made the premonition, and it probably doesn't apply to us because you've never said that to me about my eyes. It definitely doesn't, because a lot of other things have been named about my eyes, especially regarding what I see through them. But we have spent a lot of time speaking of eggs. You told me you cried in Poland because no one in all of the country would cook over easy eggs for you because it was a health hazard. I laughed and said I cared about your predicament. Deeply. You said, of course I do. I'm a woman, and of course I